In geographical, it is more about the areal differentiation. It is more about the spatial differentiation. Hello everyone, I am Sanjay Kumar, Faculty of Geography. Now I am going to present this geography section. Already you have went through your history section, society section, and now I am moving towards the geography section. This time we notice generally moderate to simple easy level with there are several complexities or intricacies generally we found some of the bounds here. Maybe in 2-3 questions UPSC has explored little bit more specific area, and there is also one or two googly in this question. You may know, you may not know, and sometimes you may not have conformity with respect to it. Weightage of geography section also remain adequate. Technically, there are 7 questions of geography, yet I may take near about 8 questions out of them. So, 8th question is aligned with society as well. Probably ma'am might have discussed it, else I will also give my overview with respect to geography. Now, without wasting the time, let's go for first question. What is the sea surface temperature? What is sea surface temperature rise? How does affect the formation of tropical cyclone? So question is not about the cyclone, formation of cyclone. Question is not about the favorable condition of the cyclone, rather very specific in nature, that how rise in sea surface temperature leading to intensification of the cyclonic phenomena. How rise in temperature, you know, the surface temperature of water bodies, it should be near about 26-27 degrees Celsius. If over, particularly in tropical areas, temperature over the sea surface if will rise, then it will intensify. It will provide continuous source of energy for formation of cyclone. So, it providing the continuous source of energy to cyclone. It is feeding the cyclone. So, cyclone likely to be erratic in nature. There is difficulty in prediction of such kind of cyclone. There is difficulty in calculation of hazard or disaster with respect to such cyclone. Now, how cyclones are formed? I know you know favorable conditions of the cyclone, but all such favorable condition does not need to be mentioned in this specific question. Now, coming to regions of rise in sea surface temperature. What are the regions? You know, insolation is one of the primary region. Means incoming solar radiation, higher will be the insolation, more likely to be temperature of the water. So, insolation has not increased with due course of time. We can say incoming solar radiation is not playing very excessive or leading role in formation of the cyclone. That's why most of the cyclone mainly develop in tropical areas, subtropical areas, because of high temperature condition. Okay. Further, there is outgoing terrestrial radiation. There is outgoing terrestrial radiation, and this outgoing terrestrial radiation is further, main cause for increasing in the temperature. Outgoing terrestrial radiation is affected by water vapor. Means water vapor led to formation of clouds, and these clouds reflect back the outgoing terrestrial radiation, which continuously increases the temperature of Earth's surface as well as water bodies. Okay. Further, increment in the greenhouse gases. These greenhouse gases continuously increasing, creating a barrier. CO2, maybe methane, maybe SO2, CFCs, HFCs, etc. all such gases which are generally working as quite transparent for incoming solar radiation but trap the outgoing terrestrial radiation. So, if water receiving more such outgoing terrestrial radiation, then there is continuous rise in temperature. And this continuous rise in temperature provide continuous energy to support the momentum, to support the swirling wind. It create low pressure condition. Rise temperature lead to extreme low pressure condition. When this low pressure condition arises, then wind all of a sudden rises to up. It uplift it from the ground. When wind started to uplift from the ground, then around water bodies there is hollow created. Then surrounding high pressure wind likely to fill this hollow. This wind is started to move onwards because in this region there is presence of Coriolis force. The force which is caused by rotation of Earth. Because of this existed Coriolis force, this wind is started to develop swirl. And in this way there is formation of cyclone. Around this low pressure, cyclone get intensified and continuous raised water surface temperature feed the cyclone. So this question, what is the sea surface temperature rise? How it affect the formation of tropical cyclone? So in this region, the temperature is rising more. This rise in temperature leading to formation of clouds, leading to rising of more and more moisture. So when wind rises above, when there is excessive high temperature here, then this is zone of extreme low pressure condition. It led to formation of some specific type of cloud, particularly the cumulonimbus cloud. And this cumulonimbus cloud, further, when water get concentrated, there is precipitation, excessive rainfall. surrounding wind when move towards this region, it started to develop swirl around. Means here wind move like this anti-clockwise. So we call them anticyclone. So this is the phenomena whether more instability is created in the atmosphere. This is the phenomena which led to more disaster around the region of cyclone. So this question here, you can conclude like change in the climate, change in the rapid temperature over the water bodies leading to intensification of cyclonic phenomena. So we are experiencing development of more and more cyclone over due course of time. The frequency of cyclone, their effect has multiplied or increased in last decade. Now moving to next question. What do large cities tend to attract more migrants than a smaller town? I hope you know about the push factors, you know about the pull factors. I hope most of the student can attempt this question as well. The earlier question, only little bit intricacy was existed in that, else it was simple. Now, why people migrated from a smaller cities or town, discussed in the light of condition in developing countries, including India, including our various neighbor countries, including Indonesia, Mexico, you may also include China, South Africa, Brazil, etc. All such countries where there are some specific cities which are overcrowded here. So when migration takes place, it may be due to socio-economic region, may be due to geographical region. You can define it geographically, you can define it socio-economically. Migration of people from one region to another region. When people move from one region to another region, there is change in behavior. There is change in lifestyle. Generally, people are more isolated inside the cities. Generally, there is break of their social network. Now, change in work condition. There is sharp division of labor. Such kind of things you can define here. In geographical, it is more about the areal differentiation. It is more about the spatial differentiation. Now you can move towards different such pull factors, या push factors. So what are the major pull factors? Why some of the large cities attracted people towards them? Better living standard. Inside this better living standard, especially better work opportunities. Better work opportunities, better lifestyle, better infrastructure. Now, infrastructure may include so many things, may be related to education, related to health, related to transport, road, rail, airport, etc. Various kind of connectivities may be related to communication, may be related to various kind of services, high level of services, etc. Infrastructure generally is better. This is pull factor. Generally better environmental condition, better source of entertainment. Okay, so various pull factors may be better security or more equality. There likely to be less discrimination here. Generally caste based discrimination not existed, but class based of discrimination likely to be existed here. Simply you can also provide the push factor. Whatever we have mentioned, whatever we have discussed here, just contrary to it, in smaller cities, poor of all such facilities related to health, related to education, related to entertainment, related to work environment, etc. etc. So these are pushing factors in smaller countries. Now, developing countries. Let's go or attempt for second part of question especially. In the light of condition of developing countries, so there are several developing countries. India, Mumbai, Delhi, Kolkata, Chennai, Sri Lanka, okay, or maybe Jakarta, Indonesia, maybe Mexico, within Mexico, then some of the other, just like Brazil में Rio de Janeiro, South Africa, Johannesburg, etc. etc. Nigeria, Lagos. Okay, so all such thing, all such cities are overcrowded. People are moving from one region to another region. So not only provide the example of India, because question is associated with the world. You need to pay attention across the globe. What is the phenomena of cloudburst? Explain. Next question. Cloudburst. Although such question already asked by the UPSC. Further, very simple, straightforward question. What is the phenomena of cloudburst? Explain. 10 marks question, 150 words. So you need to define cloudburst. How you will define the cloudburst? Generally, most of the students likely to be right. Excessive rainfall in a very short span of time is called as cloudburst. So you need to provide more factual as well as conceptual information. Until or unless you will not discuss about the specific data, then examiner may not distinguish you from different other student. So you can consider it is a phenomena. Cloudburst is a phenomena of heavy rainfall. Now, how much heavy rainfall here? The quantity of rainfall should be near about 10 centimeter per hour, near about 5 centimeter per half an hour, 30 minutes. It qualify particularly in a specific area. This is 10 kilometer cross 10 kilometer and 10 kilometer square if there is intensive rainfall within a very short period of time, generally more than 10 centimeter per hour, then it is called as the cloudburst. Cloudburst, how the cloudburst occurs? Cloudburst happen when in plain areas more moist laden wind these moist wind get converged. Maybe due to difference in the pressure condition, due to different air masses when they collided, when they move towards the hilly region, the slope, hill, they strike with the hill, and generally such hills does not allow these moist laden wind to cross over, to pass over. So what happens? These hills, just like mountainous region, particularly your Himalaya region or Western Ghat region. So when these wind get concentrated, when these winds can get concentrated, then in very short area, there is more intensification of several winds, warm, moist laden wind. Particularly these are the warm winds, which are excited to rise, but because of this steep slope that existed, that provided by the hills, it does not allow the moist air to pass over. So here more strong convection current is started to generate. More convection current, which led to concentration of these moist laden wind. Then when the water droplets get saturated in the clouds for certain specific time period, the strong convection current, very strong convection current, they does not allow the saturated wind to move down, but due to increase in concentration of water droplets, they started to fall. They move beyond the capacity of rising air. So when they started to fall, then it further intensified the accumulation of more moisture from the surrounding air. When more moisture get accumulated and released in very short area, 10 by 10 square kilometer, then it led to cloudburst incident. Mainly, cloudburst occur only in hilly areas. It is not associated with plain areas. In plains, you may not have such kind of phenomena. So in India, where this cloudburst is happening, generally in Sikkim, we have noticed last year when after this cloudburst, South Lonak Lake, glacial outburst take place, which led to breaking of dam over Tista River, which led to huge discharge within very short span of time, led to large number of casualties. This year we notice in Himachal Pradesh, in Uttarakhand, and in certain other areas, in few pockets of Western Ghat, we also receive the such cloudburst incident. So cloudburst generally in hilly areas is very much natural phenomena, but this cloudburst incident is also triggered by various anthropogenic human activities, by rise in the temperature, by increase in the greenhouse gases, etc. So we need to make our community more resilient with respect to such cloudburst incident. I hope this is clear to you. Now we are moving towards next question, that is, what is the concept of demographic winter? Now this is a kind of googly question. Most of you may not able to even in first insight understand whether it is part of society, whether it is part of geography, whether it is related to very frozen areas, related to frigid zone, or maybe associated with the demography, maybe associated with population birth or change in the population criteria, etc. So here there are two words. Number one is demographic. Another is winter. So this word demographic is associated with a study of human population. Or we can say it is associated with a study of change in human population. Now winter. In social construct, the meaning of winter means decline. Reduction in something. So when we combined these two words, means a period of decline, a period of decay in population rate, then we can say this demographic winter is associated with decline in growth of population, decline in growth of population. Generally, this concept is more associated with European countries. This concept is more associated with the developed world rather than developing countries. Now, let's go for analysis. What are the factors why this is happening? Why this is a worry for several developed nations? Not only developed nation, but in future, during 2040-50, India will also likely to be face such kind of problem. Now, moving towards care cost of child. Now, caregiving cost of child, let's divide it into two parts. Rich countries, poor countries. Within developed nation and within poor nations, what happens that there are very low living standard. Here there are high living standard. Now, due to high living standard here, there is more expenditure on education, there is more expenditure on health, there is more expenditure on entertainment. There is more expenditure on sports activity. There is more expenditure on career related training, courses, etc. And poor living countries, generally very small amount they spend over the education, very small amount they spend over the health, entertainment is almost negligible, missing, sports activities, etc. developed at very poor level. So what happens here in rich countries, generally all such things lead to high expenditure cost. High expenditure cost. All such things lead to low expenditure. Here there is postponement of marriage. Generally preponement of marriage or early marriage. Generally this class here high earning but late starting with delay. There are low earning but very early. Here child is considered as very much asset without any kind of liabilities. Here child is more considered as first liability and later on asset. They likely to be transformed into more entrepreneurs. They transform into generally more labor working class. Now look the trend. These poor countries are feeding the labor pool, the labor source for the rich countries. Lot of peoples are migrated from poor areas, from developing areas to developed world, developed nation. Further, here participation of women is also playing leading role. Here empowerment of women. Here generally women work as a housewife. So their main work is to provide care to family members, to their children, etc. Here the more focus towards their career, their own career, and more focus with respect to having minimum amount of liabilities. So in several countries now, fertility rate is decreasing across the globe. We can provide certain data that in developed countries like Greece, like Japan, like Hong Kong, okay, like Ukraine, like Russia, like Germany, or Portugal, etc. Here, the population growth rate either zero or negative. Now, due to this low negative population growth, it is leading to more number of increase in old age population, more number of old, yeah, dependent population. And this old population need more care, expenditure. Generally, government need to provide more old age pension, senior citizen supportive schemes to provide sufficient attention to such population. Further, it is very less suitable for rapid growth and economic activity. It is more sensitive, vulnerable towards various kind of disturbances that created by the nature or anthropogenic activities. So, similarly, in India and Asia by 2050, the population growth likely to be decline may be roughly around 20 to 30%, which is a cause of concern, which may lead to increase the burden of the government, increment in the burden of government. It may challenge with respect to economic development. It may challenge to sustain the growth in the future. So economic concept of demographic winter, it's world moving towards this situation. So most of these countries which experience rise in per capita income, which experience high standard of living, which experience more development of human capital, such countries, rather than sustaining themselves, they are moving towards demographic winter. So this is the demographic winter. Earlier it seems to be little bit confusing question, but now I hope you have sufficient clarity about what does mean by demographic, what does mean by winter. So you can elaborate such kind of questions, you can tackle with just simple understanding. But I hope it was not as simple earlier as now. Several students might not properly have attempted this question. During their journey, during their preparation, they might not have, listen this particular word. They know very well about the demography, they know very well about the demographic dividend, but not about the demographic winter. So such kind of question we also notice in past few years, but with a little bit new twist and turn, especially with respect to European context. This question was designed. Now moving towards another question, groundwater potential of Gangetic Valley is on serious decline. So Gangetic Valley potential groundwater, this water is declining. Now water is declining mainly in UP, Bihar, West Bengal and some surrounding areas. This question is more focused on that. Now, how much near about 60% of groundwater is decline. As per standing committee report, we have noticed that there is degradation of groundwater table, not only in Gangetic Valley, but most of the part of India. Now, what are the regions, if we want to explore the regions for declining in groundwater potential? Don't you think that policies of the government are responsible, although there was very huge protest by the farmers, and these farmers demanded some of the non-sustainable practices, yeah, policies. So one of the major reason is MSP, minimum support price. Government of India provided more than 23 plus crop MSP. So due to this MSP, there is huge production of rice, there is huge production of wheat, mainly. And there is also support for cotton, support for jute, support for various other crops. So this MSP, minimum support price, somewhere ensuring farmers adequate amount of return, yeah, more return. So in the wake of more return, farmers are ignoring regional climatic conditions. Farmers are ignoring the limitations fixed by the nature. They are extracting more and more groundwater, which is leading to degradation of water potential here. Similarly, you have fair and remunerative price, FRP, in case of sugarcane especially. First, central government provide price, fair and remunerative price, then state government provide state advisory price on top of it. And there are also competition among different political parties, among different state government to provide more and more FRP. Further, some of the farmers organization also put pressure over the government to increase fair and remunerative price. Now, regions excessive extraction. Not only excessive extraction, but also our traditional, social, cultural practices. There are certain festivals, there are certain traditions, okay, including your Chhat Puja and all, entirely it is celebrated in the water. So, if there are hundreds of ponds and very small area of Delhi, of Bihar, of various other region, then let's explore about all over India. So there are certain such kind of practices. Now, all such factors leading to degradation of water potential, all such factors leading to decline in the groundwater table. Lack of moisture in soil, more aridity. If such aridity continue to increase, then farmers need to sow more climate resilient crop. They need to sow more pulse crop, millet crop, which need less amount of water. Now, this led to crop failure. This led to impact over the food supply, over the food security. Food security transformed into food insecurity How may it affect the food security in India? It likely to be have several kind of effect over the food security. Now, food security is ensured by availability of food. It ensured by accessibility of food. It ensured by affordability of food. Availability, whether we are sufficiently producing staple crops, whether there is adequate area sown for rice, for wheat, for millets, for maize, etc., which are more staple crop. So, whether available or not, if it is not available, then it may lead to develop the stress of the food, then price of food likely to be go up. Now, one is availability, whether there is adequate production or not. Whether trade is happening mainly inside India or it is also happening outside India. Sometimes government also put ban. This time government put ban except basmati rice and high quality rice that farmers cannot sell to outside. Similarly, certain price band, certain limitation over the onion, but due to Maharashtra election, due to different election, government also revoke this step, yeah, dilute it. It's a step on them. Okay. Now, accessibility, whether food is accessible or not, means is there any supply constraint on it? In particular region, if supply is not flourished, then price likely to be go up. So, supply need to be ensured by the government with adequate transportation facilities, with adequate distribution, supply chain, etc. Affordability means generally more sustainable price. Now, on one hand, farmers demanded for MSP, on other hand, consumer also demanded more affordable price. If food security is not ensured, then it likely to be hamper the vulnerable community, a section of society. What is vulnerable section of society? Always poor hurted. Women likely to be hurted. Children likely to be hurted. Women generally, in most of the poor families, eat in the last and eat little, whatever remain after the family consumption. Okay, so poor, women, children, old person, etc., always affected by food insecurity. They are likely to be more malnutrition inside children, inside women. They are likely to be hunger, famine, and some of the extreme condition. That's why food security of India maintain adequate buffer stock. FCI generally maintain sufficient amount of buffer at least for 1 year at all time. If monsoon get failed, if any kind of a disaster occur, maybe drought, maybe flood, maybe cyclonic phenomena, maybe earthquake, maybe hailstorm, etc., they likely to be create more insecurities. Okay, so what is the solution for it? Artificial recharging of groundwater. prevent misuse. Recently, Karnataka government and some other government put restrictions that people cannot wash their car by the uh, submersible or by free flow of water through tank, etc. They can use bucket a small amount of water. Further, it promoted various kind of water retaining tendencies. Okay. Similarly, Chandigarh government put similar kind of restrictions, and some other government put restrictions that water should not be wasted. Generally, recharge the underground facilities. Further, there is curve on water accession. Curve on water consumption. Put water limit. Okay. Then generally prevent chemical discharge, fertilizer discharge, or more pollutant into the water bodies. Create public awareness. Generally, we require more scientific study data with respect to how many blocks in particular area are under the water stress or under great water stress, etc. Further, various kind of subsidies. Hold the subsidies like free electricity, subsidy for tubal irrigation. Okay, it is unnecessarily not providing sense of water scarcities to farmers. Create more awareness regarding the water consumption utilization. Further, final solution of the government: introduce, innovate more climate smart agro production. Okay, climate smart agro production. So government of India and various state government now very recently have released a long list of several crops with respect to it. Now I am just quickly trying to wrap it up. This is seems to be very static question. There is very less to debate, discuss in this question, yet most of the students know what does mean by aurora australis and aurora borealis. So aurora or australis, it is associated with lightning in northern hemisphere. Aurora borealis, it is australis generally in southern hemisphere. Borealis is associated with lightning in northern hemisphere. Now, how this lightning is created? Australis means within Australia, within several other countries here, Antarctica, maybe Chile, South Africa, etc. All such countries here are noticing, including New Zealand, okay, Australia. These are experiencing the lightning. Further, in northern hemisphere, Alaska, Norway, and maybe your USA, Canada, northern USA, Finland, Greenland, etc. They are experiencing huge lightning. Okay. So how this light is created? Light is created when the solar wind or charged particles came in contact with Earth magnetic force. So around Earth, we have the magnetic force moving from south towards north. Now, suppose that here is sun. Inside sun, hydrogen transformed into helium and lot of great energy is releasing here. Very great energy is releasing here. So this is nuclear fusion reaction which is happening. So from the sun, some of the very charged particles here, solar cycle, the solar flare, solar charged particles, plasma and all, the fourth matter, the fourth stage of matter, coming towards the earth. And when they are coming towards earth, then they are striking with the magnetic field of the earth. Now these electromagnetic charged particles, when strike with high concentration, electromagnetic radiation of earth, the magnetic field of earth, then they create light. They are creating light in the northern hemisphere, they are creating light in the southern hemisphere. The solar wind, when come in the contact with the earth magnetic force, then they create light. Due to limitation of time, I am just ending my discussion over this question here. I hope this is clear. You need to write properly, define it, how in this region greenish color of light is created due to presence of oxygen. Now your question might be that why here lightning is not created, here lightning is not created, because the concentration, because the intensity of Earth's magnetic radiation is higher around the pole. Now moving towards second last question, or typically it is last question of geography. What is twister? Why are majority of twister observed in areas Gulf of Mexico? So most of the students know about tropical cyclone, they know about the tornado. So twister is generally a special tornado. A specific tornado, we can say it is the precursor to tornado. It is a special tropical cyclone. Now this twister have violent or devastating rotation speed. Very violent, very much devastating rotation. So it led to formation of mesocyclone. This mesocyclone is the condition of rotating air inside this thunderstorm. This develop with the similar mechanism as cyclone develop. Particularly in Gulf of Mexico. Now why most of these twister tornadoes develop in Gulf of Mexico? Now what happens when there is high temperature here over the surface of water in Gulf of Mexico, very high temperature. This high temperature create low pressure condition. This low pressure condition led to rise in the wind. Which led to formation of cloud here. Then there is intensive rainfall. After releasing moisture, the latent heat of moist laden wind reduce. Then further it started to descend and provided the energy, but it get connected inside this cyclonic phenomena with the ground layer. So there is downdraft which developed around this, and there is swirling wind which started to develop here because of Coriolis force. When around this region there is hollow created, then surrounding wind very rapidly move towards this region. Further, during tornado, during twister, generally different air mass at different temperature existed. So this led to downdraft. Why maximum observed around Gulf of Mexico? Because warm sea surface temperature of Gulf of Mexico, when come in contact with cooler polar cold wind, especially from Canada region, etc., it led to differences in the wind, which created more disturbance in the environment. Then there are more swirling wind, and due to this location, high temperature as well as there is high Coriolis force. Now, just I am ending my discussion here. This I think ma'am might have discussed. If not discussed, then regional disparity related to geographical disparity means unequal distribution of resources related to economic activities, related to economic and social differences. Maybe per capita income may be associated with infrastructure, maybe infrastructure can be connected with education, health, transportation, communication. All such differences existed among different states. Okay. This diversity is associated with more wider term, means differences related to language, culture, tradition, customs, etc. across India. Regional disparity that existed in India, regional disparity means with respect to certain states like economic status, like per capita income. In Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka likely to be high, while in Bihar, UP, Jharkhand likely to be less. Infrastructure in certain states are high in plain region, UP, Maharashtra, okay, around Delhi, all such infrastructure, road, rail, etc., good connectivity, but hilly area, poor connectivity, maybe human capital. Kerala, Tamil Nadu, some states, Manipur likely to be higher side, Bihar, UP, MP, Rajasthan likely to be lower side. There is rural divide, urban divide. So thanks, I am ending my session here.